Today in history, May 1st.
305 Diocletian and Maximian retire from the office of Roman Emperor.
880 The Nea Ecclesia is inaugurated in Constantinople, setting the model for all later cross and square Orthodox churches.
1169 Norman mercenaries land at Bannow Bay in Leinster, marking the beginning of the Norman invasion of Ireland.
1328 Wars of Scottish independence end. By the Treaty of Edinburgh-Northampton, England recognizes Scotland as an independent state.
1486 Christopher Columbus presents his plans discovering a western route to the Indies to the Spanish Queen Isabella I of Castile.
1707 The Act of Union joining England and Scotland to form the Kingdom of Great Britain takes effect.
1753 Publication of Species Plantarum by Linnaeus, and the formal start date of plant taxonomy adopted by the International Code of Botanical Nomenclature.
1807 The Slave Trade Act 1807 takes effect, abolishing the slave trade within the British Empire.
1820 Execution of the Cato Street conspirators, who plotted to kill the British cabinet and Prime Minister Lord Liverpool. 1840 The penny black, the first official adhesive postage stamp, is issued in the United Kingdom. 1844 Hong Kong Police Force, the world's second modern police force, and Asia's first, is established.
1846 The few remaining Mormons left in Nauvoo, Illinois, formally dedicate the Nauvoo Temple.
1851 Queen Victoria opens the Great Exhibition at the Crystal Palace in London.
1863 American Civil War. The Battle of Chancellorsville begins.
1865 The Empire of Brazil, Argentina, and Uruguay sign the Treaty of the Triple Alliance.
1866 The Memphis race riots began. In 3 days' time, 46 blacks and the whites were killed. Reports of the atrocities influenced passage of the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution.
1885 The original Chicago Board of Trade building opens for business.
1886 rallies are held throughout the United States demanding the 8-hour workday, culminating in the Haymarket Affair in Chicago, in commemoration of which May 1st is celebrated as International Workers' Day in many countries.
1894 Coxey's Army, the first significant American protest march, arrives in Washington, D.C.
1898 Spanish-American War, Battle of Manila Bay. The Asiatic Squadron of the United States Navy destroys the Pacific Squadron of the Spanish Navy after a 7-hour battle. Spain loses all 7 of its ships, and 381 Spanish sailors die. There are no American vessel losses or combat deaths.
1900 The Schofield mine disaster kills over 200 men in Schofield, Utah, in what is to date the 5th worst mining accident in United States history.
1915 The RMS Lusitania departs from New York City on her 202nd and final crossing of the North Atlantic. 6 days later, the ship is torpedoed off the coast of Ireland with the loss of 1,198 lives. 1919 German troops enter Munich to suppress the Bavarian Soviet Republic.
1925 The All-China Federation of Trade Unions is officially founded. Today it is the largest trade union in the world, with 134 million members.
1929 The 7.10 W Kopodak earthquake shakes the Iran-Turkmenistan border region, with a maximum Mercalli intensity of X-violent, killing up to 3,800 and injuring 1,121.
1930 Pluto is officially proposed for the name of the newly discovered dwarf planet Pluto by Vestal Slipher. In the Lowell Observatory Observation Circular, the name quickly catches on. 1931 The Empire State Building is dedicated in New York City.
1945 World War II. A German newsreader officially announces that Adolf Hitler has fallen at his command posten. The Reich Chancellery fighting to the last breath against Bolshevism and for Germany.
The Soviet flag is raised over the Reich Chancellery by order of Stalin.
1945 World War II. Up to 2,500 people die in a mass suicide. Endeavor following the advance of the Red Army. 1946 Start of 3-year Pilbara strike of indigenous Australians.
1947 Portella della Ginestra massacre against May Day celebrations in Sicily by the bandit and separatist leader Salvatore Giuliano, where 11 persons are killed and 33 wounded. 1956 The polio vaccine, developed by Jonas Salk, is made available to the public.
1957 A Vickers VC-1 Viking crashes while attempting to return to Blackbush Airport in Yardley, killing 34. 1960 Cold War U-2 incident. Francis Gary Powers, in a Lockheed U spy plane, is shot down over the Sverdlovsk Oblast, Soviet Union, sparking a diplomatic crisis.
1961. The Prime Minister of Cuba, Fidel Castro, proclaims Cuba a socialist nation and abolishes elections.
1970 Vietnam War. Protests erupt following the announcement by Richard Nixon that the U.S. and South Vietnamese forces would attack Vietnamese communists in a Cambodian campaign. 1971 Amtrak. The National Railroad Passenger Corporation takes over operation of U.S. passenger rail service.
1975, the Shane-Niemi Amusement Park opens in Tampere, Finland. 1978, Japan's Naomi Uemura, traveling by dog sled, becomes the first person to reach the North Pole alone.
1982, Operation Black Buck. The Royal Air Force attacks the Argentine Air Force during Falklands War.
1990 For 3-time Formula One champion Ayrton Senna is killed in an accident during the San Marino Grand Prix.
1999 The body of British climber George Mallory is found on Mount Everest, 75 years after his disappearance in 1924.
2003 Invasion of Iraq and what becomes known as the Mission Accomplished speech on board the USS Abraham Lincoln off the coast of California. U.S. President George W. Bush declares that major combat operations in Iraq have ended.
2000 for Cyprus, Czech Republic, Estonia, Hungary, Latvia, Lithuania, Malta, Poland, Slovakia, and Slovenia join the European Union, celebrated at the residence of the Irish President in Dublin.
2009 Same-sex marriage is legalized in Sweden.
2011, Pope John Paul II is beatified by his successor, Pope Benedict XVI.
2018, Syrian civil war. The Syrian Democratic Forces SDF resumes the day as a campaign in order to clear the remnants of the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant ISIL from the Iraq-Syria border.
2019, Naxalite attack. In Gadchiroli district of India, 16 army soldiers, including a driver, killed in an IED blast. Naxals targeted an anti-Naxal operations team.
2019, Naruhito ascends to the throne of Japan, succeeding his father, Akihito, beginning the Reiwa period.
International Workers' Day, or Labor Day, International Samhain, Celtic Neopagans and Wiccans in the Southern Hemisphere.
Lay Day, Hawaii.
International Sunflower Guerrilla Gardening Day.
Constitution Day, Argentina, Latvia, Marshall Islands.
Armed Forces Day, Mauritania.
Thanks for watching.